Ever since grade school, we've all heard the old expression, a stitch in time saves 9. Let me break that down. A stitch in time equals preventative maintenance. Saves 9 reflects the time saved from having to do major repairs. Translation, there's value in being proactive versus reactive. In our heart of hearts, we as a people know this to be true. But all too often, we don't apply this principle in our everyday lives. Politicians, big business, and the government aren't any different. Our struggling auto industry is the perfect example. By now, we've all heard the story about how the auto execs flew to DC on private jets and begged for bailout money. It makes you wonder, how did they get into this mess? Could it be that after the fuel shortage of the 1970s, American automakers had the foresight to build fuel-efficient cars or create vehicles that actually freed us from our dependence on foreign oil? They spent the next 2.5 decades producing such automotive marvels as the Oldsmobile Cutlass, the mostly plastic Chevrolet Lumina, the gas-guzzling Humvee, and the out-of-this-world Pontiac Aztek? During that same period, their foreign counterparts were producing durable, fuel-efficient, and stylish vehicles such as the top-rated Honda Accord, the Toyota Corolla, and the Volkswagen Passat. Don't even talk about hybrids. American automakers stood on the sidelines as foreign car companies became proactive and were among the first to put hybrids out on the market, like the Honda Insight and the Toyota Prius. American automakers had plenty of time to be proactive, but predictably, they were reactive. And now we're suffering the end results. Struggling auto giants GM and Chrysler, who received $17.4 billion in government assistance to date, were put on notice by the Obama administration on March 30th. If they don't come up with an adequate restructuring plan, their monetary lifeline will be cut. Does this move give GM and Chrysler a much-needed kick in the ass, or will it ensure their bankruptcy or ultimate extinction?
Substandard performance is not permitted to exist.
Even when it comes to our nation's infrastructure, we take the reactive instead of the time-saving, cost-saving, or even life-saving proactive approach. It wasn't until after the deadly bridge collapse in Minnesota that we started thinking about the structural integrity of our nation's aging bridges. Trust me, there are a lot of them. The failure of New Orleans levees during Hurricane Katrina is another example of reactive behavior that proved deadly. For years, officials begged for upgrades. What was done? Over 1,000 people lost their lives and billions of dollars in damages were the end result. Quick sidebar, why would Governor Bobby Jindal take a swipe at federal spending for volcano monitoring?
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Their legislation is larded with wasteful spending and includes $140 million for something called volcano monitoring. Instead of monitoring volcanoes, what Congress should be monitoring is the eruption of spending in Washington, D.C.
Do you think Governor Jindal would have been so critical if money had been in the budget for the levees? Come on. I can name over 100 examples of how we've become a reactive versus proactive society. Like more money spent on prisons than public schools, preventative medicine versus the Band-Aid approach, eliminating fraud instead of cleaning up the mess after the fact. Can you say Bernie Madoff? If we just applied the stitch in time rule, how different would things be? See you next time with another scoop of Your Logic.